What's good, boys? In this video, I'm going to be talking about the daily pattern that literally nobody knows about. And once you understand this, you're going to pretty much see the markets in a completely different way. So let's get right into it. Also, right before we get into the actual video, here are my results for today. Trading Topstep, made around $3,500. Trading the 50K Express accounts. Just so that you guys know, I'm not one of these like gurus on YouTube or on whatever TikTok that doesn't really know what they're talking about. I'm not a TikTok trader. I actually know what I'm talking about. I get results, my students get results. So yeah, just want to get that out of the way just so that you guys know who you're actually learning from today. Putting that aside, overall, the goals of this video is to, number one, understand how the daily pattern is traded, what this setup actually is, how to have a clear set of rules to trade, and I'm actually going to give you a set of rules to trade in this video as well, and how to actually be able to pass funded accounts and withdraw payouts from these accounts, pretty much using this simple setup. And as long as you guys wait for the daily pattern setup, you can actually pass fundeds with it and take payouts from it, because this is the same setup that I've used to take payouts and get max allocation with prop firms just by using this one simple setup. So overall, the daily pattern is very, very simple, and a lot of people, they don't really know about this style of trading. So overall, starting on step number one, go to the daily time frame and mark up the candle wick, high, and the low. So the low's right here, the high's right there. If we take a look right there, we now have the high and the low. This is also previous day high, previous day low. So step number two is then go to the lower time frame. You can go on the hourly time frame or the 15-minute time frame. I like the 15-minute time frame because it's just overall clean. You know, you see good price action overall. So here we have that previous day high, previous day low. And now what we're going to wait on is a sweep of either previous day high or previous day low. If you're patient enough to actually wait on this setup actually has a pretty high win rate. So just be patient, wait on this sweep. For example, here we have the high, we have the low. We'll see which one actually gets swept first. And based on that, we're then going to wait on our lower time frame entry model. All right, so we took out the previous day high. This was also that daily range high, swept it out. What do we see? Instant wick rejection out, right? So now what we're going to do is we're going to go to the lower time frame. You can see beautiful wick out. We didn't close above that high, just nice rejection, nice sweep of liquidity. We'll now go to the lower time frame. This is step number three. And what we're actually going to do is we're going to mark up the 5-minute time frame range. The way that I like to mark up ranges is obvious highs and obvious lows. So in this example, I use this obvious high, obvious low on the 5-minute time frame. Why the 5-minute time frame? Because it's not going to get you mixed up on the 1 minute. It leaves obvious highs and lows, and you can use this to your advantage, because what we're actually going to be using in this daily pattern trading setup is waiting on a pullback into OTE of that 5-minute range. And I've backtested years of data on this, and I can tell you that the 5-minute time frame is the cleanest to find these ranges. So now what we're actually going to wait on is a pullback into OTE to continue price lower. Why? Because we swept out that previous day high. We took out that daily high. So this would be like a bearish example. I place my fib from the high to the low. Very, very simple. If this was a bullish scenario, I would then place my fib from the low to the high. So the zone that we're pretty much looking for shorts in is the optimal trade entry of the range right here on the 5-minute time frame of this range right here. So you can use the 618 to the 705. 705 is like that top tick level. This will oftentimes just top tick the market and the price will just dump as long as the external bias is aligned. So if we take an example right here, this could be your entry right on that. So for example, this could have been your entry right here, right on that rejection of that 705 fib retracement. You can enter right there. And for targets, you can target the internal low below. You could target a 1 to 2 fixed risk to reward. You know, I'm not going to tell you what to target. It depends on how confident you are in your drawn liquidity higher time frame. But for beginner traders, I recommend just take 1 to 2 risk to rewards. Keeps things simple, or just target the most obvious low that you see if it's around a 1 to 2. Or if you have a strong higher time frame drawn liquidity, if you have confidence in where price is going higher time frame, then you can actually even target that daily low. You can target previous day low, or you can target low resistance liquidity. Here we also have like an AMD type of framework, accumulation, manipulated higher, and we actually had that 5-minute range, right? We had that sweep of that daily high as well. And now this is that pullback into OTE of this 5-minute range. So we could see a reaction here to deliver price lower. So you can see price right now dumping a bit. Same thing, still dumping. And now it's perfectly fine also if price retaps into OTE, because that doesn't really invalidate the setup. Sometimes you'll see we consolidate around optimal trade entry, but it's completely fine if we still want to retap price. So not break even just yet. If we did take out this low, I would then be break even. So let's take a look. Boom, right here you can see we tap back into OTE, rejected, still dumping, and you can see full take profit would have been hit. You could move your stop loss to break even at this obvious low, or even if you want to play it more aggressive with your break even, could have break even after we had this nice pullback into OTE. Rejection wick out. If price is then trading around here, you know, you tell yourself, okay, price already had that pullback into OTE. I don't really want to see price pull back again into OTE because then my setup could be invalidated. Then, you know, you could just break even more aggressively. It is really up to you where you want to break even and where you actually want to take profits. So I'm not going to tell you to take profits at one specific spot or anything like that unless you're a beginner trader. If you're a beginner trader, take profit 1 to 2. Very simple, very consistent, you know, just keeps a lot of the BS out of trading. So overall, this was a clean as bearish example. Same thing for a bullish example. Previous example, that was a bearish example. Now let's take a look at a long setup, right? Using the daily pattern. So overall, go on the daily time frame. This is your previous daily candle. Same exact thing. Mark up the candle wick high and the low right there, high, low. And then what are we going to do? We're going to go on the lower time frame. You don't have to go on the lower time frame, but I like to use the lower time frames because it just gives you more price action to pretty much watch. And then just simply wait on previous day high or previous day low to get swept. And then we're going to wait on a setup. So let's see which one actually gets taken. Right here we have the high, the low of this daily range. As you can see, price ended up dumping, sweeping out this daily low. What do we see? Rejection out. All right, what are we gonna do? Now go down to the lower time frame. We're gonna go on the 5-minute time frame. We're gonna pull up our fib, and then we're gonna wait on a setup. Here we have a 5-minute range, pretty much marked up this range using this high and using this low. So since this is a bullish example, I marked up my fib from the low to the high. And now what can we wait on here? We can wait on a pullback into OTE of the range, optimal trade entry of the range right here, to then continue price back up higher towards one previous day high, or we could just take a 1 to 2 base hit, or we could take a scalp up just towards this high right here. It is up to you. Like I said before, it's up to you where you want to take your profits, where you want to break even. But overall, this is a consistent setup that I back tested over years of data. So let's see what happens here in this example. This is overall the narrative that I want to see. A pullback into OTE here. 705 is the main level that I like of the fib. Also here you can see more clearly how I marked up my fib here on the 5-minute time frame. So keep in mind this is the 5-minute time frame. I like to mark my fib using obvious highs and lows on the 5-minute. So obvious low, obvious high, right? We could see a pullback into this low. And also I forgot to mention before, but your stop loss, you can just place it below the 0.79, or if you want to play it safer, like this example, at that swing low wick, right? You can play your stop loss a little bit tighter. It really is up to you. But for me, I like to have my stop loss in a safe location where I know if my trade stops me out, then the setup's invalid pretty much. So you can put your stop at that obvious low. Let's see what happens. Also, for taking profits, you can target a market maker buy model or just target low resistance liquidity. Obvious highs, if higher time frame, you know, your draw on liquidity is very, very bullish here. You can even target more for around a 1 to 4 risk to reward, or you could take a base hit around a 1 to 2. It really is up to you. But the main thing that matters here is this entry. The entry is very precise after you wait on that daily range low to get swept, and then waiting on that pullback of the 5-minute range into OTE. This is very, very simple. I'm not overcomplicating anything. And also after this video, you guys should backtest this if you actually want to try it out for yourself. But this is a setup that plays out pretty much every single day, as long as your draw on liquidity higher time frame is correct. So we'll wait on the pullback right here. Boom, that could be your entry right on that 705 level. As you can see, we have nice reaction out. Also, if you want, you can break even aggressive at that internal high just in case your higher time frame draw on liquidity is incorrect. So could even be risk-free right now. And as you can see, boom, base hit 1 to 2 RR, could take profit at this obvious 5-minute swing high. Or if higher time frame, you have high confidence in your drawn liquidity, could even aim for more, could aim for some hourly highs, 15-minute highs, unfilled for value gaps. It really doesn't matter. What matters the most here is having this precise entry. And as you can see, oftentimes from these 5-minute ranges, especially after we have that sweep of previous day high or low, we will have a pullback into OTE before we actually have that continuation to the upside, just like in this example right here. And when you actually use your fib on these 5-minute ranges, you can see how clean the actual pullbacks are, and it ends up bottom ticking a lot of the time. So I know some of you guys on my Instagram, you see my bottom ticks, you see my top ticks. A lot of the times it's just OTE setups off of 705 of the range. So also, if you guys don't follow the Instagram, at KrabsTrades on Instagram, I post on there like literally every single day. So follow to stay updated on there as well. Back to the charts, could target these highs. And here is a overall beautiful example of the setup playing out once again. Overall, what we covered right now is understanding how to use previous day high and low, basically using that daily pattern to get a strong drawn liquidity, and then having that clear set of rules to trade. So just overall waiting on that pullback into that 5-minute range OTE to then continue price back up towards your drawn liquidity. And with this, you can actually use this same setup to pass funded accounts and actually take payouts from prop firms. Also, the prop firm that I like to trade with is Alpha Futures. Highly recommend the 50K standard account or the 50K advanced accounts. I think those are the top 2 accounts that they have, honestly. Also, if you guys want to support the channel, use code KRABS at checkout. Gives you their max discount code every single time. So yeah, grab some accounts if you need them for the week, or if you just want to forward test these setups on some evals, then test out Alpha Futures. Me personally, I think Alpha Futures and Topstep right now are the top 2 firms, no matter what. Also, if you're a trader that's struggling right now, if you're not really where you want to be, I have an offer where I guarantee to work with you one-on-one until you're funded, max allocation with prop firms, and receive your first ever prop firm payout. So overall, if you keep blowing accounts, if you're kind of emotional in your trading, or overall if you're just lost in general, you really don't have to be wasting hella time in your trading. If you're totally lost in your trading, you're blowing accounts, you're being emotional, over trading, revenge trading, you're stressing the hell out of yourself, I will coach you one-on-one to prevent all of the same mistakes that I used to make into my own trading, so that you can actually get funded max allocation and take consistent prop firm payouts every single month. If you're interested in that, the first link to apply is in the description. Also, if you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Comment below a W if you made it all the way until the end of this video. Next time, love you all. Peace out.